So I thought that this would be a nice follow-up to, it's a little bit more complicated, the teapot, to the teacup, right? It's a little more complex. So I thought it would be a good subject to kind of break down into how do you structure this. I think what happens a lot is people, and this one of course is like slightly turned right this way, so it's not even exactly a straight on view. But I think what happens is people try to guess. Y'all, like, everyone gets excited, so a couple of things happen. One, like, you're trying to, like, things get a little rounded. And we don't get this proportion right, the width to the height. So that's the first thing that happens. And number two, people just guess where these things go, the spout and the handle. And I don't think that's very helpful. And almost nobody ever gets it right. Have you noticed that? When you've tried to do it, you just don't get it right. It's not in the right places. So we're going to use this similar model of kind of creating a grid, and we're going to start with just the body of the teacup, and then we're going to add the spout and the handle afterwards. So we're going to break this up into 3 parts and do them one at a time. So to do that, I'm going to kind of ignore, my cat is going bananas. I'm going to ignore the body of the teacup. And before we even do this, so this is the first structure we're going to draw. And then we're going to add these 2 pieces on afterwards. So remember to leave a little space on either side for your handle, for your spout. Observe, this is not a teapot that we're looking straight on. The teapot's actually turned a little bit. You can see, by the way, what direction is the light coming from? Can you guys tell?
The right.
Nope. What direction is the light coming from?
The top?
Kind of.
It looks like the left side. It looks like the left side.
It's coming from the back. Back-ish, sort of back left. Can you see? Because the cast shadow is coming forward here. Right? So it's kind of coming, so it's a bit coming from, you're right, Osiris, it's a bit coming from the left, right? Because we've got all these light areas here. It's definitely lighter on this side here than it is on this side, but it's also coming kind of from the back and backlighting forward, which always creates an interesting structural response. All right, so enough of this. As usual, I do not want you to start by drawing the teapot. I want you to start by drawing the grid. And when I say the grid, the map, our map. So the first thing we're going to do is determine the halfway point, like everything else I have you do, from the top of the lid to the bottom of the teapot. We're going to find the halfway point. I think that's about right. Yep, I think that's about right. This is the halfway point. So you're going to start by drawing a line down the middle. I'm going to draw mine a little bit small so I can fit everything in. Right, and then I'm going to find the halfway point. This is what I'm going to do, the very first thing I'm going to do. The second thing I'm going to do is sketch a line across the middle of the halfway point. Yeah, where that halfway point is. And then the third thing I'm going to do is find my quarter points on my vertical line. I'm doing this a little bit. Wait, that's not right. Two, three, four. And these points should be equal all the way down. I'll send you a picture so you can see this up close. Did you get a new car, Diana?
Yeah.
Oh, fancy.
I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm getting it in about a month.
Congratulations. That's fantastic. So
My
here are my
friend is
quarter
moving.
points.
My friend is moving back to Sweden.
Oh! Well, that's too bad, but it's great to have a new car, a newish car.
They've
A new
had
to
enough of the
you car.
US. They've had enough of the US. I said they've had enough of the
No,
US.
she's retiring.
Oh,
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So your first step is going to be whatever size this is. It doesn't matter. It can be this size. It can be smaller. I'm drawing a little smaller today so I can fit my whole pace on. I'm going to start by drawing a vertical line. I'm going to divide it in half and divide each half in half. So these are divided into 4 quarters. That's my first step. My next step is to draw a line across the body of the cup at the teapot at the halfway point. And then what am I going to do? I'm not even going to say, what am I going to do next? What's my next step? What am I going to do, guys? After I draw this, what's my next step? Come on. I do this every week with you.
you
What am I
gonna do
doing?
another,
Say it.
go Tasha.
Oh,
Go
you're
ahead,
going to double up, so you're going to measure the width of the.
Yes, I'm going to measure the width of this line, and what am I going to compare it
To the length.
to the height, right? Exactly. So the next thing I do before I draw anything else, I'm going to check this. I'm going to see, well, look at that. It comes to here a little bit, almost to the top. So the width of my teapot is about this high at the halfway point. So I'm drawing this grid. I'm gonna notice I kind of measure it out with my pencil, and then I use my finger to mark the points, and then I double check it to see is it correct? Did I get it right? Bring it in just a little bit. There we go. Perfect. I can also check. It's pretty much equal distance, so it's about half. Easy for us. So that's what I'm starting with. And that's what I want to see. I do not want to see any of you trying to draw this yet. I want to see your measurements and make sure they're right. So then we're going to deal with, it's cute. This thing is so little and cute. I usually don't draw this little. I'll send this, you guys can really see it. This is what I'm looking for. And I want to make sure it has the right proportions. So go ahead and send that over to me. I want to get you in the habit of this. People who start drawing, who look like they're not doing this, if a person knows what they're doing, like say Diana, for example, she might not draw this grid, but this is essentially what she's doing. She's checking width to height. As she's getting things out, she's checking width to height, width to height. Are these things right? You get to a point where you kind of know what it is after you work with the flat surface for a while, right? It's like a language. But until you get used to this, you really want to get establishing your vertical distance and then using that to define everything else is a really great way to go about this. I encourage you, by the way, to draw bigger. I just can't fit it on this screen. So I'm drawing smaller today. Right, so I'm not, I guess my point is, I'm not just trying to torture you. I'm actually, let's see. Hi Geraldine, how are you? Let's see.
Morning.
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm glad to see you today. Perfect. You're perfect. It's perfect.
Thank you.
Yes. Anybody else want to send them? Good morning. Who else is here? Once I get the spotlight on, I don't always see everybody. Oh, hi, Sandra.
Hi, Leah. Sorry, I was late.
Yolanda.
I was
That's
fixing
okay.
the netting where my lion escapes, and I think
Excellent.
I saw him
we-
try and fail. So,
At least for the moment.
oh yes, until he outsmarts me again.
Right. It's just a matter of time, right? Another thing I like to do, I've been observing with the teapots, because I think this is a hard thing to guess. I also like to draw a little line down, kind of from the edge of the lid, the top of the teapot. It's a little bit hard to place the top of the teapot. So having these lines here will kind of help you. I'll show you, we'll get to them in a minute. It's easy to make this too narrow or not exactly put it in the right place if you don't measure it too. So it helps. Looks good. Tosh, what are you working with today?
I'm still on my Procreate because I don't have any
Nice.
tools.
That works. Excellent, perfect. Yolanda. Yep, good job. Good job, everybody. Yolanda, your top quarter looks a little bit smaller than everything else. You might recheck that.
Okay.
Just replace it just a little bit, which means you might have to check everything else. I'm just looking, it's a little hard for me to see. I could be wrong, but it's easy when you're doing this. Maybe mine is. No, today it's good. All right. So I'm going to start with the bottom sketch. And once again, observe where the quarter point is. The quarter point here is right here. It's where the kind of lip of the teapot starts. So my next job here is to kind of, let's see, I'm going to draw a line that goes up like this on either side. Then I'm going to draw kind of my line across. To at the quarter point to get my teapot kind of lid placed, to get the length of it, to get the proportions of it. So you see how I've drawn these lines just a bit up on either side. You're going ahead a little bit, Osiris. 1, 2. So if you want to get this proportionally correct, you need to erase these things because this is too wide. But if you want to just do what you want to do, but I'm just telling you, this halfway point and this width are virtually the same. This is just a little shorter than this one. Yours is double the size. Also, this is not even really at the halfway point. Okay. Anybody else want to send these in? All right, so now that I have this, I can start to sketch in my bottom. Notice it kind of comes out a little bit at the bottom before it goes in down to here and then straight across. So there's this desire to kind of do this thing where you're just doing a basic straight curve, right? That's not really what's happening here. It's a little bit fatter on the bottom. And then it's kind of turning in. So also remember it's flat on the bottom here. You can't really see that as well because technically it's in the lost edge.
And your line is further out than the other line.
What?
I said, I noticed that when, just because my mind moves like that, but
Uh-huh.
on yours, I can see where you're gonna do something because of how the horizontal line is out a little longer than the lines in the center on the top.
Yes, that's right. That's right. This is at exactly the halfway point of the cup though. This horizontal line is exactly at this halfway of the vertical. Let me take a picture of this. The sooner we can get through all this measuring business, the better, the quicker I can kind of let you guys do, play with this. Play with the darks, play with the lights. It looks like a little boat right now. I'm a little boat floating in the sea.
I was thinking it looks like a cat.
It looks like a cat too. It totally does. Oh my God. Now I can't unsee that. Yeah, there you go, Tosh. Good job. 1, 2. Yep, quarter. Yep. So now I'm going to draw in this little angle on either side. So from this edge here to here, I'm going to draw in the little angle, which should help me then place this line. Neat, huh? If I want to as well, and I think I might, probably going to divide this half and this last quarter in half, just so I can see where things lie, what the lay of the land is. 1, 2. Oh, how useful. Halfway, I'm going to erase this line because I don't, this mark, because I find it confusing. It's not going to help me anymore. Halfway from here to here, literally halfway up the quarter point, is where the teapot, what do you call it? That little top, little handle on the teapot is. Is that right? Yep. Down here is kind of where, just below the quarter point.
It's a waistline.
Yeah. Yes, a teapot looks like a little sexy woman. Wait, maybe 1, 2, yeah, it really is. And then the teapot lid kind of comes out like this. You may muck around with this a little bit before you get it right, but this will basically make sure you have things in the right places. Now it really looks like a little person or something with a hat on. Using how quickly. Just out of curiosity. Yep. Bring that out a little bit more. I'm bringing out my edge a little bit on this side, not too much. Yep. That makes the difference. Also, it's kind of. I mean, you'll muddle around with these shapes for a while. The beauty of this process that I'm showing you is that you don't have to get it absolutely right. As long as you get it proportionally right, you're in a position to be able to correct it, right? It's not about getting it absolutely right the first time. It's about learning how to lay things down in a way where they're generally in the right places. Then you make the little tweaks that you need to. So one more here. Also, it looks sort of weird right now, but that's okay. We are prepared for this. Once we get these in, we can now add these external shapes, these other shapes. I'm going to put them in a different color so we get that they're done kind of second. Notice I'm drawing these little boxes. The boxes are forming the top and the bottom of each of these elements that we're going to add. And they're showing the relationship between where that top and that bottom are and where it lines up with our vertical lines, with other parts of the teapot. You can observe a couple of things right here that are helpful. Number one, the bottom of the spout comes at the 3/4 point. The top of the bottom handle comes also to the 3/4 point, right? These are helpful things to be able to observe. The other thing I can do is once I sketch out this little box, I can find out how far away it is from I want to find out the furthest distance that this element lays away from my subject, my base subject, the base. So I'm actually measuring, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm measuring the distance from here, from the teapot, where it hits the teapot, to the edge of the spout. That's as far wide as it's going to go. And I'm going to come up here and measure how far out that is. And I can see that's like half my vertical distance. So I'm going to come here. Mark that off. Come over here. Line up one side with where it is on the teapot, where it lines up with the teapot, and come here. Now I know my box that I need to draw. Now I know that this is my farthest distance for my teapot. I also know that my spout. Lines up here, right, with the 3/4 point. And if I draw a straight line down from the edge to here, I create that little box, sort of rectangular box. Double check it again. Yep. Yep. And then I can use negative space to start sketching out the outside edge of the teapot. So instead of just trying to guess, which is what y'all do, right? We all do, right? When we're trying to figure out where something is, I'm actually, here, and I can see already, I need to come in a little further. There we go. I'm actually trying to create this shape. helps me. Which helps me create this edge of the teapot. And then here is T-spout. And then here, it really is kind of coming along to the edge, coming in, and then down here. It's a bit fatter than you think it is. It looks thinner because we can see the sides, right? Once we get our lights in, which are pretty dramatic. Here. Here. Maybe I make this a little bit thinner. But you see how I'm using my little box to help me, a negative space, to help me figure out the actual shape of this. Maybe I'll bring this out a little bit. Yeah, there we go. And I'm kind of tweaking it as I'm going along. I'm not getting it exactly right, but I have confidence that it's in the general proportions and it's the right, the general right shape. I'll let you guys get there.
I just sketched up something else from my garden. It seems like I'm into my garden.
I think it's fantastic.
nice.
Your garden, it deserves, hey, listen, Pierre Bonnard did very little but paint his backyard. So did Monet. Right? That's pretty much all they did was paint their backyard. You could spend your whole career doing that.
But I just did this now, so we'll see where it takes.
Send it over when you're ready to, we like to see
Yeah.
your process, Diana, so send it over.
I'll send it over. Saturday.
I have my Diana original, but I gotta say, when I see your oranges, I'm kind of like, want one. So we'll just see how well. I have oh, isn't that sweet? Are these mangoes or peppers?
Oh, they're peppers. They are like chili peppers.
Oh, they're so pretty.
Oh, don't touch them.
Right, right. In some ways, it's like Diana's 5-minute garden sketches are fantastic.
Beautiful.
They're beautiful. It's magic when you how do I say it? When you understand like proportions, when you get more familiar with this flat space that we're working on, you understand how space and shapes work. It becomes like you become better able to simplify. Right? Like Diana is really at this phase where she's able to kind of simplify. She sees the bigger shapes, she sees them in relationship to each other, she sees the lights and the darks. And when you add those in, it's kind of done in a way, right? It's kind of done in a way.
I show you the original, which is nothing like this. I've just
Right, you've just taken it, and we're also, it's true that we change paintings and subjects. We just use the photo as a beginning reference.
Yeah.
Right, a painting is a painting is not a photo. It's definitely not a photo. Yeah, so she put them closer together, she moved them around. Good job. This is a great way of looking at like how we tweak references and change them. To be able to do that, you really need to understand proportions. Drawing, painting, composition, right? Where things are in relationship to each other. If you're going to move something, you need to understand what it's going to do by moving it. So this is the kind of thing I'm teaching you. It may feel tedious, but when you get to it, it's really remarkable and amazing. Give me 1 second, you guys. I got to go police my cat for a second.
I guess I'm into the 5-minute paintings, 10-minute. That's how I did the teacup too.
Yes, yes. Some of us have children, others of us have cats.
And dogs.
And dogs.
Did you hear me say dog? Okay.
She did. She knows. She knows, she knows.
Yeah. She does. Hey, sunshine. What's that? What's this?
Talkie. You know what, Sandra, I've been having people come to my house this week to give me inspections on replacing my furnace. And one of the guys was like, I totally have Bengal cats and we never let them outside. He said the first time we let our Bengal outside, he was gone for 3 days.
You know, the snow damaged part of my netting, and I'm thinking of replacing it with something that I imported from Australia on the left-hand side, and it's called the Ocelot. And when I had a long chat with this woman before I did it a few years ago in Australia, and she said it works except for Bengals.
Except for Bengals, because they're too dang smart. What about chicken wire? Does that not work?
Oh, but that's terrible. It looks terrible.
It
But
does
the problem
look
also is unless you're going to go put it all over on top of a yard, it needs to curl up a certain way. And
I got you. It does look
I
terrible.
also want to help the wildlife. So I'm thinking of having more slot. But yes, Bengals, they're very smart and extremely athletic. So the combination is difficult.
Right.
Oh, talking again.
It's true that I have to say our chicken wire really helps, but our patio is in the backyard and we admit it all looks a little trashy. It looks like we look a little bit like white supremacists in the backyard. Right?
But the thing is,
Trashy.
it's okay to have it in a small area like a cage, but I can't do that in a big
No,
garden.
you can't do it.
I mean,
with the
it's not
whole
a big garden. But
You're right.
I actually saw breeders in the Netherlands, and they had done that because they had many Bengals, and they are literally.
And
I
it
mean,
was
there
their,
was
right.
It was completely enclosed from the top. But then you don't get birds, you don't, complaints. Now what? If you're gonna go out-
Chicken, I want my chicken out of the oven. Chicken, out of the oven. Chicken. Sort of looking for this artist I want to show you, although I haven't quite. Let's see. There's Tosh. Let's see. I see you went ahead, Tosh. Let's see. Let me check your proportions. Notice it's interesting. It comes out the same distance, doesn't it?
Yeah,
From here to here. So let me double check your distance from here.
it's a little short.
It's a little long, I think. Hold
Oh,
on.
okay.
Let me double check your. I'm looking. One. No, it's in good shape. It's good. Yeah, that looks great. So now you can go ahead and start adding your darks and your lights, right? Your dark and your light shapes that are in. Good job.
So the fun part is that because I did this in layers, I can show you what it looks like without the guidelines.
Oh my gosh, yes, Geraldine, I feel like, nope, that's good shape. Looks good. Good job. I'm just checking proportions, Geraldine, hang on here, looking. Yep, everything looks good. Here, oh my God, I'm proud of you guys. You just push right ahead there. Yes, excellent. Start
Yeah.
shading.
Right. Thank you.
I can tell you, Yolanda, hang on. I don't think anything's wrong.
It looks weird, the
Well,
left.
you can adjust the shape as you get all the pieces in place. But there's not as much, oh, you're kind of, I mean, I can show you one thing. Here. If you look at this, it's angling up too much, right? It should be angling over. So you drew this, you did this.
Okay.
Should be angling out a little bit. Should be angling in more, not up. You've made it look too tall, but the proportions are correct. So that's the main thing, I think. But the other thing is, I think you should also get in. This feels also like it might be a little too far. I'm going to check it. Maybe, but I think it's probably just like little. No, these are all pretty good. Yep. I think this comes up a little higher than you have it. You have it down here, lining up with the edge. If you see it, it's lining up there. So I think that will help too. But it's just teeny thing. And then that will change, right, how this relates to this edge.
Okay.
Yeah, good job. Good job, Osiris. I like it. It's good. It's good. All right. For those of you who thank you, Tosh. For those of you who are still kind of working on this, I can see that as well, kind of here. This, the handle goes out about to here. So I love finding my parameters. If I have my outer parameters in place, I feel like 100 million times better. 100 million times better. Got that? Super better. Let's see, I think up down here. Once I have the idea of how far out I can go, then I can start to sketch. Also, observe that the handle kind of comes in a little bit to the body of the teapot. That's because it's not exactly. Also, the shape is kind of ear-like. Interesting. It's also kind of wider here at the bottom. And it gets a little bit narrower as it comes up here. Yeah, we were painting these this week, and I was like, this is a great thing to practice drawing because there's so many pieces to it.
Cool.
Grateful, Tosh. Gratitude to you. I owe you.
No problem.
But remember that.
You get me to come to class. That's a big deal.
That's the idea. Yes. Great. Okay, comes in a little bit. Then we can start doing our dark and our light shading, right? Like starting maybe here on the edge of the teapot. You can add some other things if you want to. You can get the shadow in. So you can get this shadow in, whatever we can see of it. Right, and then you can actually sketch right over the edge because there is kind of a lost edge where the shadow is. Does everybody remember what a lost edge is? What's a lost edge? They're important to have in drawing.
Would it be after the light passes or something?
It's related to light. It's related to shadows. So strong shadows will sometimes cut through and appear to erase the edges of things. If you look here, wait, actually, I'll send this to you before I started drawing on it. If you look at this teapot, and so a last edge, right? So I can't really see the edge, this bottom edge. I drew it in because I kind of knew where it was for you guys, but I can't really see it because the shadow is cutting across the bottom edge of into the cast shadow, and then this kind of area under here on the sort of bottom of the pot. So lost edges are really key. Here, let me show you. Sorry, I was doing it and then not showing you what I mean. Let me show you. You can see here. Here is our beginning. Okay. Here's our beginning. Here's our beginning. Take a look at our original source. I just sent it across. You can see that I kind of can't see the base. Can you see? It's kind of the base, where the base ends. It's a little bit visible, but not very much. Where the base ends and the core, the sort of bottom of the teapot, and where the cast shadow, which is in a different plane and going a different, isn't actually on the teapot at all. It's the shadow that the teapot casts. You can't really see where those edges are. So that lost edge is important. That's called a lost edge. That means I can't see the edge because the shadow, the strong shadow that's cast on it, sort of erases the edge where there's a plane change. So lost edges are important in kind of defining. There's almost always one, at least one. By the way, you'll observe that like the bottom of the teapot all the way across is pretty dark with a few highlights. And then it gets kind of lighter as you kind of move up. So you'll want to have that transition. And then you can erase in your highlights or put in around them. You want to have that transition. Oh, well, I remember. And now I just want you guys to have fun, because we've got plenty of time to finish this. If you want to, I'll put up another one. You can try it again if everybody finishes, or you can spend a little time with this drawing. Try and place it. It's an elegant. Teapots are so wonderful. They just, to me, they indicate comfort and home.
I like collecting them.
Right? They're like,
I
I'm
drink a lot of
obsessed with
tea.
it.
I'm a tea drinker, not a coffee drinker. So I have a lot of teapots because I drink a lot of tea.
You know, I am a coffee drinker and I still love teapots. It's the teapot that makes me feel I am in a home. Like, so I collect them too, just because of the art of them. They're so pretty. I'm still looking. I can't find it.
The most famous glass bottle painter, his name is Dale Chihuly, and he
No,
lives in
he's,
Washington.
He
lives in
is a
Washington,
glass-
DC.
He lives in Seattle, Washington.
Yeah, Seattle, Washington. Yes.
And he's a glass artist, but he's not a glass bottle artist.
yeah,
He's a glass artist. He's very famous. It's somebody who painted.
it's Kandinsky. Was it Kandinsky?
Nope.
Pablo
It's,
Picasso.
It was a
No.
dude. I'm gonna see if I can find it.
Because I was Googling who was the very first glass bottle artist, right? Yeah,
I see Pablo Picasso, but that's not who I'm thinking about.
and it was Kandinsky. They came up to, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a guy who made his career just painting glass bottles. That's all he did. That's all he did. He just painted glass bottles. And so now I'm looking, it's not, maybe. Only.
Historia is here.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing it. I want to give it to her.
Right.
Because, yeah, it's not coming. I might have to look a little bit. And it's not glass bottle art. So. I know somebody I can ask. Not Morandi. Giorgio Morandi is definitely one.
See, I'm a
that-
researcher. That'll bother me until I
Right? I know.
I'll just dig and dig. No, I know. how
I
to go into
know. It's
this. Dig
a
and dig and
person.
dig.
I'm actually gonna text my friend who I know will know the answer to this question. Not finding it. On the tip of my tongue. Yeah, it is better. Definitely. Much better. Get in your handle.
Thank you.
Good job. So remember, this is not a foolproof method, meaning you're not going to get it necessarily right on the first go, but you're going to know that the level of your problem solving, you can see I need to bring this up a little bit. Down you go. The level of your problem solving, there we go, nice, is going to be much easier because you're only going to have a certain set of things. It's like, is this go up like this or here? It's little things that very often make the difference between a drawing that looks accurate and one that does not. Right, and there's some, boy, this would be a nice charcoal. In the next, probably in March, I'm going to move us over to charcoal for a while. So for those of you who do not, some of you have these materials already. For those of you who don't, I mean, you're welcome to stay and pencil if you want to, but you are going to see charcoal and you're going to want to do it. I can promise you that.
It feels so good.
It's so fun, right? I'm always like, I'm not going to make you, but you're going to want to. So I will send over the drawing list. Oh, fun, Diana. Oh, magic.
Let's see.
Look at how she's pulling out her key
That's
lights
beautiful.
and darks. Key lights and darks. It's about the lights and the darks. Thank you for showing it, Diana. I really feel it helps everybody to see how somebody does this once you have the lexicon of, and once you have an understanding of proportion, once you can draw kind of how this plays out, right? How this helps you to simplify. Super helpful.
I might just leave it like this.
Yeah, it's lovely.
The background is not quite true to color, as you can see if I hold it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's all right. I like it. I think the colors work. So remember here that we're doing a different thing. We are not drawing remember, until the 1850s, I think 1860, whenever the camera was invented, until the 1860s, the painting was the photograph.
Mhm.
Once the camera was invented, the painting was like, what am I? Painting went through an existential crisis. What am I if I'm not a photograph? What am I? If a photograph can be taken, what am I, right? So a painting is not a photograph. It is not the same thing. It does not have the same level of detail. It is not, I mean, it can, but the painting is not the photograph. The job of a painting is not to be the photograph of seeing things, right? Because we have this tool that can do that. We have this camera. So what is the painting if it is not the photograph? The painting is a representation. It's a personal representation based on what the artist sees. It's a simplification. It's a the painting becomes something very personal. And now, of course, all fine art photography, virtually all of it, is trying to look like a painting. So I find it hilarious. But like, photography displaced painters. There are painters who stopped painting because they didn't know how to think about the photograph, right? They didn't know how to think about their painting if it wasn't supposed to be photographic and used as a photograph. But there are other painters who were like, this is awesome. I don't have to get every detail. What can I do? What am I free to do? What am I free to do? And the people who asked that question defined what painting became. They say that like people who are born after 1935 have an entirely different concept of the painting, of what a painting is, than people who were born before then, right? We have this idea of the painting as something that is not a photograph, as something that we stare at for a long time to try, kind of like a magic trick, right? How did they do that? How did they simplify that? Much a thing as possible. Painting for us is a painting for us is impressionism, really. I think most people think of a painting as an impressionist thing. When the impressionists were around, nobody thought, first starting up, nobody thought of the painting as an impressionist thing. They were all like Bouguereau and other people who could paint really realistically. Those were the people who were considered the great artists. It was only later that people began to be like, hey, wait, actually, this is more interesting. For some people, sadly, not in enough time. People like Van Gogh, it wasn't really enough time. But for others, they had more success. Monet had more success. People after, probably actually all of them eventually had a little bit more success. Is anybody having fun with this? Let me know if you need another one. I'll give you another one.
I'm going to take my girl out in the garden and I'll be back.
Okay. Dog, walk.
having so much fun, Leah. This is
I'm
really,
so glad.
yeah, I was really jealous of the teapots that everyone was painting this week.
I can send off the other ones. I will send the other ones that people were painting, and you guys are welcome to try them if you finish. So let me pull them off the other threads written here. We'll be painting a red teapot tomorrow in oil. Although you, of course, are welcome to do acrylic. In my class, I don't think Marie has a class tomorrow. I think she's skipping the week. As we all now know, Marie is kind of phasing out of teaching regularly. She's too busy. Stupid full-time jobs.
With me, Leah, I signed up for Friday and Sunday because if
Yeah.
I'm working on the Friday, then I'll just take it on Sunday and then
Perfect.
vice
Yeah.
versa. Yeah.
Yeah, that works out perfectly. I love it. And I notice you're being very, and of course, all these things are recorded. I don't know if anybody uses
Yeah.
the recordings.
Yes, definitely. Well, I need to catch up with the oranges one. I never did
Oranges
that.
is really fun.
Yeah, but I will.
And then there are two versions, right? Like doing it in oil and doing it acrylic are slightly different things. So,
Right.
yeah.
I don't know if it's like less fun for you or everyone else, but I really like it when we do like one subject all week.
I do too, right? It's kind of working, isn't it? What do you
Yeah.
tell me what you like about it?
I like about it because like it gives me like multiple chances to try again the lessons,
Mhm.
like measuring and stuff like that. I think what you were saying earlier about learning to simplify.
Right. Honestly, by the time I get to Saturday, I teach it better because by then I kind of know what the problems that people are having. Like poor Wednesday, the Wednesday class is like, oh, it's the first one. And I'm like, oh, you didn't know that? By the end of the class, I'm like, okay, now I know what you guys don't know. I like it because it helps me refine and think about how each subject is its own thing. And I'm not doing the same subject, so it's always a different subject. It's always a different picture, but yeah, I like it too. I find it kind of like, yeah, meditative in a way. Let's see. Oh, nice, Tosh.
Yeah.
That's all done on Procreate?
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess what I used a brush that's called Little Pine.
Oh my God. Oh my God. What a fun. Look at how much that looks like it's sitting there. So you might try adding a little bit of background shapes.
Okay.
We can't really see what it is, but try adding some in and see like how simply you can kind of make that sit.
Okay.
It looks pretty good, Yolanda. I would say observe this. So hold on, I'm going to check and see if you went far enough out. Yep. The handle here, I'm not saying I necessarily have it exactly right either, but it's like, look at, it's thicker here than it is here. Can you see that? So it's
Yeah, I see that, and I try to do
it's
that.
where your start, it's where your start point is. So your start point here is where the 3/4 point is, and your start point down here, it's a little bit longer than you think it should be. Then you can angle up, you can angle kind of straight here and up here to meet that.
Oh,
Where
true.
you started, right?
Right. Okay.
Yeah. It's tiny little things like that. So basically what's happening with handles is they're almost never super rounded. You can see here, like this little white space here means you can see there's a plane change on the handle, right? There's a plane change here because it's light here and it's dark here. That means if you were actually looking at it, it looks a little bit more like this. Right? This is the top and this is the side. So there's always this point where these curved things, because we can see more than one side, has a shift that's a little bit more square and less rounded. People want to kind of skip over that, right? We want to skip this part. But here and then up here, right? There's a plane change. So here it's light. I don't really have that in right now. Let's see if I can get it in. It's understanding that these plane changes that are here kind of shift our idea away from a simpler subject with one side to realizing that you're looking at more than one side of the handle. Right, so it's more square. Maybe a little bit more rounded here because I can only see the side from here to here. And then on top, again, I can see the top and the sides. Our key to understanding when there's a plane change is when we can see a shift in light. And by the way, totally okay to go slow, fast, do more than one. Does anybody want to see another one? I can give you another source. I don't really have time to print it out, but I can certainly send it across as well. I'll send one more. So for those of you who are finished, we'll grab the one we used on Wednesday. It was really charming. This has a background and everything. Where are you? Wednesday. Diana did the cutest little, here we are. Try this one on your own. Turn it into a black and white. Try it on your own if you want
Is
to.
this the one Diana did?
Yeah, the cute little one. She did one in that thread. I'll get it. She did it in a few minutes, really quick. It's so cute. I was really in love with mine too. Kind of
I
like was
loved
like
the one you did.
I loved it. I was like, this is so fun. Here, I'll send the one I did too. It's like really fun. What is very fun about that Wednesday class is that we are not stuck with the one medium. We start with watercolor and then we just add whatever else we want to on top, which is very freeing and kind of fun. So a little bit more than 5 minutes. Totally cute though. So fucking cute. Oh. Julia's feeling, where, Julia, are you here? No. I can see Julia sending something in.
Can I ask a question, Leah? On the old one, not the red cute one, I'm a bit confused of the lights. So if the light source is coming from the slightly tilted to the left and from the front,
Yes.
but
Back,
then I
from
was
the back.
confused by the light on the face that facing us on the body of the pot. That looks like a bit of the, yeah, that's where you're pointing at. That's a bit of like a reflection almost.
That is a reflected from another source.
Right, so there is another source. Okay,
There's
that's what
always another source. There's always another source. We are primarily concerned with the first source, but that's where the brightest light is coming from. But there's always another source. If you're outside, if you're inside, there's always another source.
Okay.
And these are the things that are kind of reflected in that other source. So imagine lights kind of coming from behind and hitting really hard here. But that also this top, even though it's in the dark side, it's going out and then curving down, right?
Right.
Going
Yes.
out and curving down. So yeah, there's always, right? Because even if like you're in a outside and you see sunlight coming from this direction, the sun is still also over the top. And even in the shadow side, so this whole thing is in shadow, but the shadow will not be equally lighted. because of plane changes. It's not going to be equally lighted because sun's coming from everywhere, right? Light is bouncing everywhere. You can't you can see where the main direction is, but it's still also bouncing off everywhere. So in a shadow side of something, which is here, wherever there is a light source, that means that things are lighter. But on the other side of this teapot, which you can't see, it'll be bright.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So this is like, so on the alternate side that we can't see, that would be a 1. This is like a 3 or a 4.
Right. Okay.
Right? Because it's sticking out and then it's coming out and then it's going to come down. But because we can't draw that, we can only show the transition from light to dark.
Yep.
That's all we can do.
Okay.
Good
Thank you.
question. I remember when I first understood that, it was in drawing portraits, and I could see that the shadow, there are certain parts of the face that are lighter than other parts. So for example, and I'm going to pop myself up so you can see this here. Hold on. I have a spotlight for a second. So for example, let's see if I can do this. Right. So these cheekbones here, one of the lightest parts of the face. However, this side is in shadow, right? And this side is in light. This side is in light. The right side is, you got what I'm saying, right? The right side is shadow, is in light, and the left side is in shadow. So this cheekbone here, which is one of the lightest parts of the face, becomes like a 2 or a 3. This cheekbone is a 1 because it's closest to the light. Right. Gotcha. So even like that's, and I remember when I learned that, I was like, oh, I keep trying to make this a 1 and it's not a 1, it's like a 2, right? It's like a 2 or a 3. It's still lighter, but it's not as light because it's in the darker side of because it's moving away from the main light source.
Cool. Yeah. Gotcha. Thank you.
You always ask the best questions. The best ones. Oh, nice, Osiris. Lovely.
Did you check out my little teapot with my little teacup?
I love it. It's so cute. So dang cute. It's so charming. Look at, he's a little teacup on the right.
Yeah, because the Asians, they have their little cups and their little saucers. They're so particular about how their stuff,
So cute.
Leah,
Yeah.
I've just joined, but is there still time to catch up, or are you nearly done?
We're nearly done. We're nearly done, kiddo.
But we
Okay.
still have
Sorry.
45 minutes, no?
Yeah, I mean, you want me to walk through the entire lesson again?
No.
Oh, okay.
But maybe you can do something else.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can be with us. Come be with us and do something. Try to draw this teapot.
Okay, I mean, maybe I'll just watch the video of the red teapot from
I don't
yesterday.
know, Oscar. I think it would be nice to have you join us. So why don't I show you just a couple things and then you can try. How's that? Because you've done one teapot.
Yeah, sure.
So you remember.
He started yesterday's teapot, but he didn't finish it.
Okay, so you can either finish yesterday's teapot or you can try and start this one. Start this one.
Yeah, I'll start this one.
Yeah. Start this one or finish yesterday's. So just remember, Oscar, we start with our vertical distance. I'm going to do this fast because it's a lot of it. It took an hour. You're going to find your vertical distance first, your halfway points and your quarter points. Then you're going to draw a line across the middle of the body. You're not going to do this. You're not thinking about the spout or the handle, just the body. And you're going to measure the width of the body at the halfway point, which comes about up up to here. Up to here. Then I drew these lines,
Sunny.
lining up with the quarter points and lining up just a little bit in from the edge of this, of the halfway points to help me draw the upper part of the teapot. Then of course there's the lower part of the teapot. And then we do our little box out here to draw each of these pieces. When you're ready for this point, come and I'll walk you through how to do that. Okay?
Okay.
Do it. Nice to see you guys. Emma, are you gonna do it too?
I have to go shopping
Ah, okay.
and cook supper.
What are you going to make?
I loved the teapot yesterday.
Oh, aren't they fun? We've been doing teapots all week.
I actually quite liked Annika's white background.
Yeah, I was like, what, I know. She was like, what do I do next? I'm like, I don't know. I did too.
I think her one looked better with a white background actually, but I haven't
tell her
been
that?
brave enough to paint over my green background.
Every time you guys say
Yeah,
teapot,
but it was both foreground and background. So you should have, I would have liked her to split the background and the foreground. into
Yes,
different colors.
yes, right. And the, like the wall and the,
Yeah.
and the right, and the table coming towards us.
I
Right,
actually went to
exactly.
a friend's house today and she had and she's had them on her wall for like years. We've known each other for years. A tiny little like a miniature acrylic painting of a lemon and a tomato on two separate canvases, just squares. And the way the background was done in that was the half was white and half was like a pastel. You know, the foreground was like a pastel. I thought that looked quite good.
Nice.
it's so nice to hear somebody speak proper English. She said tomato. What is that? Tomato. But every time, I feel like that therapist in that movie Get Out. Every time you guys say teapot, that song comes on. I'm a little teapot, short
and stout. Here is my handle. Here is my spout. That's actually a great song that we can sing when we're drawing it. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Do the body. Here is my handle. The handle next, then the spout. A step-by-step guide to drawing a teapot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm going to send you my parrot.
let's see.
Oh, I want to see a parrot.
Oh, yeah, fix the reflections, Diane.
see
They're too, you know what the problem is? They're too yellow.
Yes.
So yellow is too, you want to kind of neutralize them a little bit, a little bit more orange
That's
and
what I
some
thought.
blue. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Sandra.
Sandra.
Oh, God, you're so good at these now.
Do
These-
another
was-
one. Do
It
another
was
one.
really hard because he has so many colors. He was much harder than the other one.
Great.
Oh,
Right?
it's so beautiful,
Oh, I
Sandra.
love him. I love him. He's a doll, an
Oh.
absolute doll.
I
Good work.
still don't dare ruin him with a background.
Still looking, right? Totally lovely. Yeah, don't ruin it with the background. Backgrounds, particularly with watercolor, we know that white is an actual helpful color. Leaving
I mean,
something
this is a photo. You can see it's very busy.
Yes, he calmed it down. I like
Yeah.
it.
And
I'm
you know,
not even.
you can always have a color on the passepartout when you frame it.
Yes, exactly. If I frame it.
Of course you will. This is
My house, I like to have empty walls. My house is going to be full at this rate.
yeah, good.
Any suggestions?
You need some more art on your walls.
Yes, you do. More animals. We'll probably
have to
get
say-
to animals starting in March, at the end of March, in April.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I paint this exactly the sort of thing I would buy.
Right,
I mean,
that makes sense.
And you're getting so good.
Yes,
if I send you a photo,
better and better.
let me know if you have any suggestions.
Okay, send it over.
Yeah,
Maybe it's Giorgio Morandi. No, he specialized in still life. Let's see.
just rounded the head and in fact it's flat.
Your parrots are fantastic, Sandra.
Oh, thank you. It's the first time, but I actually try to do more detail with small brushes.
So,
Try to do detail with big brushes. And
oh yeah, he's looking great. He's so cute. Oh baby, I just want to like chuck him on his chin.
he lives in the Pacific.
They like to have their head scratched like a cat.
Really?
The top of their head. Yeah, I had a cockatiel for a while, and she really loved to have her head scratched, the top of her head. Often new feathers are coming in, and it felt good to sort of scratch off the little casings. She would just be like, there. She was like a cat. So she flew away.
I hope the cat didn't eat it.
No, she flew away though.
Have.
She did fly away.
Oh,
really? You know, some people get them back. I have a colleague in New York who was a bird, but escaped, and they got him back, which seems almost impossible. And then one day he also found another bird who was exhausted, who had clearly flown away from someplace. And so now they have two.
It's Giorgio Morandi. That's who I'm thinking about.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yes.
Now, Giorgio Morandi. Yeah.
your bird is better than the original, Sandra.
Oh, I don't so. It's very
Well,
kind.
that's the idea.
Yeah.
Want to kind of
Well, let
like
me know if
improve
you have
upon
any
the
suggestions or if I should stop maybe.
Stop.
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 Okay, I'll stop. So I was gonna do like a bottom branch, but maybe I'll just leave that.
Leave it.
So now I need to do a new parrot.
Do a new one.
Ah, you know what I want to do? There's a head of a macaw I found on.
There you go, Olga. Giorgio Morandi.
Yeah. Thank you, Leah. And I see that he's from Italy, actually.
Yes, yes. I thought he was American, but he's from Italy.
Yeah, and he was in Bologna, and I have been there like a month ago. So I need to come back to see his paintings.
I think this is going to be my next chapter.
Oh,
wonderful.
Can you hold it up one more time? Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one. Good.
I was worried about the
details.
white, but in fact it's a very light pink.
Yeah,
nice.
Beautiful.
So I'll just sign this one and retire it.
Yes. It's too bad Francesca is not here. She would be all over Giorgio Morandi. There we go. Ah, Tosh, there you go. Fun. See how you're kind of playing with this idea of these soft darks? Nice.
Yeah, I like to read it without all the background.
Yeah.
Listening to all of you guys, so I redid it.
Mm-hmm. So the way I like to think about background is how is it pushing the foreground forward? So in areas where like my subject is darker, I'll make the background a little bit lighter and more fuzzy, right? In areas where the background is darker, like the top, where the top is, like right here, right? Adding in some background, fuzzy background can kind of help push this light part forward, kind of give it a little bit more form. So that's how, oh, very nice, Osiris, I love it. What a trip. I love it, love it, love it. Oscar, how's it going over there? Oscar, how's it going? Oh, he's muted and working. Good job, kiddo. I can see you're doing well. Send it over if you want some help. We've got half an hour left, so you guys actually have plenty of time. This is why Diana is always asking me about backgrounds. Like, it's an important part of the painting, right? It needs to sort of support the subject to come forward. So how does that happen? We look at the edge where the background meets the subject. And what we want is something that pushes the subject forward, but does not push the background forward, right? That's the key. So sometimes it's a values change. Sometimes it's a texture change. Sometimes it's a graying of the background, which really helps the bright colors of the subject come forward. Sometimes there's nothing there because nothing helps more than something as you're going around. I think the master of backgrounds is really Odilon Redon. I think I have this here somewhere.
Okay, everyone, I'm gonna sign off.
All right, thank you, Tosh. Hopefully I'll see you
It's
tomorrow.
good seeing everyone. Take care.
Good seeing you.
See you soon. If you look at like Odilon Redon is a pastel artist and an oil painter. If you look, for example, who did these extraordinary pastels, if you look very closely, come here, for example, you'll see that he got dark in his purple to really push that pink forward. Over here, he got a little bit gray and neutralized. He neutralized a kind of gray that was slightly darker than the lights that he wanted to push. Over here, it's dark. He changes his backgrounds every time. I'll take a picture of this so you can really look at it. He's kind of a master of change, like really going to the edge of whatever he wants to push forward and making his background to do the opposite or something complementary. Here, take a look.
There's many ways to ruin paintings.
Indeed. Here,
Elia, I've just done the body.
okay, you want to send it over to me?
I'll send you that.
Send it over. Are you doing drawing in school these days, Oscar?
Yeah, right now, well, we did self-portraits for a while. Now we're doing a surrealistic self-portrait, but that's
nice.
We just did a drawing and now we're doing it in watercolor.
Nice.
Yeah.
You've already done a surrealistic self-portrait. I've seen it. You and all the fragments.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, we did that vase.
Yeah, I love Odilon Redon. He's a master. He's an absolute master. If you look closely at every edge around that vase, there are different things happening in the background to push the vase forward. Let's see here. All right, Oscar, looking pretty good. Too good. One. Hold on.
Sunshine.
Yep, excellent. You know what? That looks good. So now, Oscar, let's start with the, I want you to observe the, I'm going to draw this little, what I'm going to do is kind of sketch in this little box. So the first thing I'm going to do is see where the top of the, where does the top of the spout land in relation to the body? And you can see it's about here. It's about this halfway point. So I'm just going to draw a line from the top all the way to the outward edge. And then I'm going to measure that line from here, from the edge where it starts to the edge of the spout. And I can see it goes about halfway up. It's halfway the vertical distance. So I can come to my own halfway point, come out here and mark the vertical distance, right? Like that. Then I just need to do a line straight down to the 3/4 point and bring that line straight out. So in this little box is where that spout lives. Got it? Do I need to repeat anything? I know I just did that fast, so let me know if I need to repeat anything. We'll do the same thing with the handle.
Yeah, I got it.
The handle is also about halfway. So it goes as far out as halfway from the edge of the teapot, right? It's halfway the vertical distance. So I can mark that out here. And it ends the top of the bottom of the handle, starts at the 3/4 point. The bottom comes down even further. So I can kind of come out here to make that box. Let's see how it goes. Hang on, I'll be right back. My menagerie is here to be fed. Winged and four-legged.
Okay, I've done the first box. Should I send it over or and then start doing the spout or do both boxes?
Leah stepped out.
Okay.
Okay. Emma, nice. Yep. Yep. You guys are looking good. You may do some, let me double check these. Yep. We're all good. I think, Emma, your line, this line is coming out a little bit this way. It's slanting out a little bit like this. So you want to make sure it goes straight up and down.
No.
Or maybe that's you, Oscar. Sorry, that's your mom, isn't it? There we are.
Yeah, it's me.
It's a little bit of a slant. Good job.
Oscar had a question for you.
What's that?
No, I've done both boxes now. I was just wondering if
got
I
it.
should do the spout and then the other box or
You can do whatever one you want, whatever. I liked doing the spout because I really like the shape of the spout. I thought that was like really kind of neat. So.
Okay, so I'll just do the negative space for that.
Exactly. See, I don't need, you guys don't need me anymore. You got it. You've got it down. Music to my ears. I'll just do the negative space. It's amazing how much you're all taking in and incorporating. Everybody does it in a different way at a different time. We all have our, battles to fight with this, and they're all each very individual. But it's fun to see your progress. It's fun to see you struggle with these concepts and understand them deeply. There's a deepness, there's a real non-judgmental evaluation that happens when you're trying to draw something. when I say non-judgmental, I mean, we don't, like, we were drawing a girl the other day. In faces, you can really see it. You're drawing faces, which are basically pretty much proportionally the same from person to person. Things are basically in the same places. And yet little tiny differences make huge differences in appearance. Like millimeters makes a big difference in an appearance. So you really start to understand that the concept of a young, pretty girl and an old, craggy man are not really that different. Just little tiny changes make the difference. And that is an understanding that I think gets you away from idea of pretty, ugly, you know, not that anybody really lives here anyway, it's kind of an absurd definition, but you know, you kind of move away from those things into, this is bigger, this is smaller, interesting. It's less judgmental, it's more just like, to get this, how do I get this shape right? What is that light compared to that dark?
Oh, what a nightmare.
Did you do?
I'm trying to put in the captions, and each time he wants to put name of peoples, it knows instead of a name of a parrot. It's driving me insane.
We've got about 20 minutes left.
It's too little to start a new painting I'm doing. I'm priming canvases with my leftover paint.
That's it. That was difficult. I wanted to give a photographer credit.
That is nice of you.
There are stupid people, like one of my aunts who say, oh, like I did a kangaroo, said, is this based on a photograph? Like, no, I had it in the living room.
I don't know, Sandra, with your backyard, I wouldn't be surprised if anything was back there.
Like, I know it out of the top of my head because everybody knows the physiognomy of kangaroos.
I think some people think that when you draw something, you just have an image in your head. I think that's the biggest problem and the block people have from drawing. You guys might remember this yourself. I think we all go through that phase where we think we have to know it intimately and draw what we remember. What we actually find is drawing what we remember or trying to is a disaster, or it's really hard. Like it's
really
much
hard.
It's
Even
much
with
easier.
cats, let alone a kangaroo, but even with a photo, it looked so improbable the way it was put together.
Right. Right. You have to, I mean, after a time, if you draw enough things, you can remember, right, what it looks like, how to actually construct it. But like, it's funny how everybody thinks this is some mystical magic trick. I'm like, in a way it is. I guess we do have a magic trick. We're creating a sleight of hand that is not the typical way people think about it.
So Leah, should I fix those oranges more or should I just leave them be?
Ah, Oscar, looks great. You did it, my friend. Now do the lights and darks. You did it. Let me see. How did I miss that? Oh, no, they look great. Leave them. I think that's good. I love it. I love it. I like the kind of slightly purpley orangey. I like this sort of subtle reflection. Very nice.
Yeah, it's better.
I think
with
it's
purple.
done. I think it's done. You're gonna cover your whole wall with beautiful pictures of fruits and
You
vegetables.
know, I have so many canvases just standing around, laying around, bookshelves and closets, and I mean, I have so many canvases everywhere.
Leah, should I worry about the shadow yet, or
You're
should I
ready to
leave
do,
it?
you mean the cast shadow here?
Yeah, I haven't done
Yeah, put
the.
it in.
Okay.
But then what I would do first is I do the lights and the darks that are on the pot before you do much with the shadow, but you can draw it in. Good job. Good job, Oscar. Really good. That's fun, Osiris. Very fun. Super fun. We've got about 10 minutes left. Hopefully you have spent some time just focusing on the task at hand and not really thinking about anything else. If you have, then this class has succeeded in what it is meant to do, which is to not only teach you a new skill, but to stop time, stop you from going forward in time, I should say. Have you be in present moment. That is a real goal with all of this. I mean, I want you to be good, so I'm going to be a tough one. But what I really want is to push you into that place where you're concentrating enough on what you're doing that you're not really thinking about what happened earlier this morning or earlier this week or what might happen later, or just right now.
Wait, so is it morning in the US?
It is. Well, it depends on where you are. Where I am in the West Coast. So where Diana, myself, Osiris, anybody else here? And Osiris are, it is now almost 10 o'clock in the morning. We started at 8. Where Sandra and Yolanda and yeah, where Sandra and Yolanda are, it's 3 hours later, so it must be 9.
Lunchtime, yeah.
Almost lunchtime. Where Geraldine is, it's is it 2 hours? Is it like late morning for you, Geraldine?
It's coming up to 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock, right. So she started at late morning. Isn't that a trip?
At 10 o'clock.
Oh, Yolanda, very nice. Yolanda, you just got to go darker with these, right? Got to go darker with these areas.
Yeah, I think my problem is because of the shape of the pot, the reflections are not regular, right? It's like some parts are darker, some parts are lighter.
I think you're thinking, I think you're overthinking. I think you're overthinking. What I would do is this. I'd get everything to be a straight 4 compared to your 5. And then you can just go a little bit darker in places like here. Right. I mean, yes, of course, because the pot, different parts of the pot are in different places in relation to the sun. But I think you're overthinking and getting too mathematically obsessed. So what I want you to do is just start by making everything here kind of a 4.
Right. Okay.
Right? Everything here a 5.
Okay.
Then you can kind of come in and see, oh, it's 5 up here and maybe 4.5 here, right? You can kind of add in the shapes as you see them, and don't get obsessed with trying to add every shape in. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I want you to get out of, even though we are measuring and I want you guys to be mathematically correct. You see how I'm kind of doing this? I'm kind of adding this in here as I see it. I want you also to recognize that there's a rhythm here to seeing shapes in relation to each other. It's more like working a puzzle than it is like mathematically trying to figure out. I can tell you that the one person who was never able to do lessons with me was the guy who had to know that when he laid his painting, see how I'm starting to get that? Just by kind of looking at kind of the major darks. And then my question, I don't have to do every single little thing, right? I can just do the things that I want to do. I can just do it shape by shape. I like to think of it as you start with the biggest darks and lights, then you kind of go into the next biggest darks and lights. Here. I want you to get into a rhythm. So anyway, this guy was like, if he could not know when he put his pencil down that it was going to exactly be in the place it needed to be, he wouldn't put it down. Wouldn't put the mark down. And even though, and then he would come up with these insane measurements, which made no sense. It just didn't work. But he was thinking like a 3D person. He made these measurements to figure it out. And I'm like, that's not going to work because that's not how measurements work on a flat surface. And he couldn't handle it, right? The sort of being Here, see, I'm darkening it too. So I'm more looking at transitions and big shapes. That's what Diana is doing, right? Diana, when she's working on her peppers today, she was really working just the major lights and darks. She didn't do every light and dark. And notice that just getting the major ones in, the biggest ones first, and working on that transition, you can almost now see this pot starting to turn. I can come here and get a little lighter if I want to. See that? Just adding that in. You can start to see, I don't need that much. I don't need everything. I just need the key pieces. So do the pieces you can see. Don't worry about the things you can't see for now.
Okay.
Interesting idea, isn't it? So I want you to be mathematically precise on one hand, and on the other hand, I want you to let go of it and start to see the shapes. Start to be able to see how much space these shapes actually take up, these dark and light shapes. It's an interesting concept.
Yeah, it's funny. I've been driving my dad crazy because every time after the class, I might have a few kind of tiny little questions that I either don't know how to express in English or just like didn't have time to ask. Then I go back, ask him. And almost for every question at the end, he'll be like, just follow your feeling. And
well, what he's telling you is, and it's similar to what I'm telling you, you're trying to quantify, right? Every little shift. You're focusing too much on the detail. Remember, a drawing is not a photograph. Geraldine, beautiful work. Absolutely beautiful. A drawing is not a photograph. It is a representation of a subject, hand drawn and hand skilled. So you are simplifying. You are not trying to get every detail. You're trying to see where the major lights and darks are, right? You are trying to get all those major things. So you go with what you, it's not really go with your feeling, it's go with what you can see. In my view, the best systematic way of thinking about it is, okay, this is all dark. So here, this major dark is where I focus first. Then this is kind of a less dark. So it's a little bit lighter, right? So I focus on that edge. Then within this lighter edge, there's some areas that are lighter. So I pull out a couple of those as I see them. And then your subject begins to emerge. Look at how my subject has been, look at how leaving my, I really like this drawing. Look at how even leaving my edge, my lost edge in here creates a kind of feeling as well. A kind of a stability in a way. Right? So it's not about feeling, it's about looking and seeing visual spaces.
Yeah, I think
Darks
that's
next to lights.
that's what he was trying to explain to me.
Yeah, but it's like hard for an artist who's always in that space to be able to be like, can't you see it? It's like, don't you see it? Don't you get
exactly.
it? Like,
there are certain things he's like, can't you see it? Exactly. Like,
yeah, can't you see it? Like, trust me. I know. I'm like trying to explain it over, and it'll come to you as it comes to you, right? It is methodical. It is a process. It does have a series of steps, but you, and particularly if you're an artist that doesn't teach much, you're not used to thinking about it. Diana claims she doesn't measure, but I watch her measure all the time. She just does it so instantaneously. She doesn't know she's doing it.
No, she knows. She has that tool.
Well, but she just by her eye is able to kind of know how much space this pepper takes up with how much space she does measure.
I do use this one though. Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, but mostly you just know. Mostly you just know where things are, right? And the difference between Diana and you guys is that she has a lot more, and me is that we both have a lot more years in doing this. Even though Diana took 20 years off, she still has a significant amount of experience, which helps her see where these shapes are and where they are in relationship. That's why, and it's what's really nice. And Diana, what I think Diana is learning to her delight is that you don't lose any of it. It's still there. It's like riding a bike. It's like driving a car. Like once you learn, you never unlearn. You might get rusty, but you still always know how to do it. So you're building constantly upon this skill. When you guys have done this a while, you will not believe. And I think the thing to kind of, what I hope you take away from classes is two things. Number one, how non-intuitive this is to the left brain way of thinking about things. It's very, it's like trying to go in and learn how to fix a car engine without any help, right? You never think to do that. The other thing is, once you kind of get this process, halfway points, measuring, blah, 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 you'll start to see it more naturally because you spend enough time on this flat surface that you know what's going on, you know what's happening. So you will get used to it. And then that's when it becomes really hard to describe because you're just doing it so automatically, you don't even know you're doing it. If you're an artist, you're like, what? I mean, I think back to my art instructors that weren't very good at teaching drawing, and they were like, they just didn't even know how to say, can't you see this? But it's, it's a funny process of trusting. I think it's also true, Yolanda, this is the other thing I'll say. I think the other thing that's true is I spend enough time challenging your understanding of what you're seeing so that you question it all, right? Like it's actually a valid response to go, oh yeah, I get this isn't where I think it is. This isn't where I think it is. The halfway point is not where I think it is. I get that. That's part of it. Like I'm also challenging. So in your brain, you're like, wait a minute. So how do I know I'm right? When do I know I'm right? Like going back to being right, because I spent a lot of time going, chop, chop, no, nope, 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 right? So I also get it as you're starting to sort this out for yourself. But once these rules kind of clunk in, you will really be like, why would I do anything else? You're welcome, Geraldine. It's wonderful. Is anybody okay with me posting these on my roaming studio Instagram? I think it'll be a little bit later today. I have a bunch of things to do. Just let me know if you don't want to publish. Otherwise, I will grab them and put them to show what good little students you are. Oh my gosh, and it's 10 o'clock. So let's, I'm going to stop the recording. Well, actually, I'm just going to remove the spotlight. So go ahead and put yourself in gallery view so you can see everybody equally. And let's hold them up wherever they're at. Yeah.
Oh, I can find.
Oh, Olga, there we go. Yeah. Yes. Do you see what I mean? Coming in a little bit closer. Yes. Good job, everybody. Wonderful. Sandra, hold it up. Hold it up. Yes, everybody.
Oh.
Yes. It's
Okay,
great.
I'll take my peppers in.
Great. Wonderful.
Oh, wow. Nice bottle, Olga.
Excellent work,
Wow.
you guys. Excellent, Olga. I sense
Very
an
nice.
obsession.
Geraldine, very nice.
I sense
And
an
I see the
obsession.
teapots again. I missed the teapots again.
Okay. One more time.
Oh, Yolanda, very nice. Very nice.
Thank you.
Osiris, your teapot, please.
Can you hold it up? It's really cute. It's got a little teeny cup next to it.
Oh, it is very nice. Wow.
Isn't it the cutest? You guys did great today. I don't think there's class for Marie tomorrow, but I am on at 11:30 PST, 2:30 EST, 1:30 Mexico, 8:30, 7:30, 8:30 English time, maybe 8:30 UK time, or Germany time. I don't know. You'll have to look it up. For painting a red teapot in oil. So we'll see you guys soon. Take care. Great job, everybody.
Thank you, Leah.
Bye.